And while the administration and millions of Americans were preparing for the storm yesterday, a reporter looking into how the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, has survived in the White House was treated to an unexpected interview with the President, the Vice President, the Chief of Staff, and the Secretary of State. It is quite a story. You can't call it a trifecta because there's four. What do you, a fourfecta, whatever you call it. Back with me now, Frank Bruni, Alice Stewart, Olivia Nuzzi. She's actually, I don't know why I call you Nunzi all the time. Olivia Nuzzi.
It's fine.
Don't worry I'm sure people do it all the time. She's the reporter who got a private Oval Office press conference, and she writes about it in New York Magazine's New Intelligencer site. So, Olivia, just tell us about it. So you called this meeting a private Oval Office press conference. So, and it's a wild read. Tell us about it.
Well, it was not planned. I don't really know what to call it. That was the best thing that I could come up with. But I had been in the White House yesterday morning for a series of meetings and interviews for the story I was working on about Chief of Staff John Kelly. And right as I was leaving, I saw I had a missed phone call, and it was from Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She asked me to come back into the White House. And quite unexpectedly, she brought me back into the Oval Office, where I was met by the President. And he wanted to tell me, I think he said, a few things before I wrote my story. And it just sort of unfurled from there, where it was a series of very senior government officials coming in kind of one after the other. And it felt, frankly, ridiculous.
Were you thinking, is this really happening right now?
You know, I was on no sleep at all, and I hadn't had coffee, and I just kept thinking, like, what is happening?
Why do you think you were called back in? Do you think you were called back in because they wanted to squash rumors about chaos?
I suppose. I mean, that is what the President kept saying. He said, look around here in this room. Do you see any chaos? I'm paraphrasing, but he was trying to make it seem like it is, as he calls it, a well-oiled machine. It seemed like they were very concerned about there being yet another story perpetuating what have been these fairly persistent rumors about the President's relationship with different members of his staff, and especially John Kelly, since he joined the administration last July.
Didn't they give you a list? And why do you think that the White House, why do they go through such lengths to insist that everything is going well and to make sure that you pointed out, these are the accomplishments?
Well, clearly, because things are going very well, Don. No, I don't know. The President is very obsessed with his media coverage, as we all know. He watches networks like CNN, Fox all the time. He tracks pretty closely negative stories about his administration. And I think that they saw what they thought was an opportunity to influence the story in a way that they thought would be beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Don,
go ahead, Alice.
If I can say a couple things. First of all, if you read any of Olivia's work and you look at all of her writing, you see this is a heck of a smart woman. She's a heck of a talented writer. And then you see her and you say,
she's not done yet.
It's going to be a but.
It's not a shock that she can draw a crowd in the White House. Look, I was at dinner tonight, and I happened to look across the room, and I see one of the people in her piece. And so I walked over to him and said, hey, I'm on Don's show tonight with Olivia, and what's your response to the article? And he said, well, I can't say who this was, but he was there in the room. And first of all, he wanted to say this is a good example of how the White House is accessible and wants to tout the record on the accomplishments of jobs and the economy, and certainly with the Supreme Court. And he said, make sure you tell Olivia that this was a very fair piece. They were pleased with how it came out, because it was virtually, the piece was like you live blogging. And they were appreciative that you gave them the opportunity and you told the story fairly, and you presented it as it was presented to you. And they say this is a classic case of what fake news is not. And so they wanted to say that they appreciated the opportunity that you gave them to tell the story, and I think you did a great job. It was a great piece, and as someone who loves journalism, it was great to see you. Funny thing happened on the way to leaving the White House, and it was a great read, and I hope everyone gets the chance to read it.
Well, thank you and good night, everyone.
Wait, Alice, who said that? I got to know.
I cannot reveal my sources.
Cannot reveal her. You can't reveal your sources.
Don't let her out of this building, Don, until she tells me who said that.
Yeah, I'll let you two fight it out. I'll give you the last word, Frank. What did you think of the article? I mean, it was, someone texted me not so long ago and said, that article is all kinds of crazy. I said, crazy good or crazy bad? He said, crazy good. I loved it.
Crazy riveting.
Thank you.
I tip my hat to Olivia. It's a great piece. It's a rollicking read. And as was mentioned before, one of the takeaways is Donald Trump he says fake news. He pretends he hates us.
He loves the
He
media.
cares so much.
Oh my
And one of the things that Olivia really conveyed well in that was he wants her to like him. That comes across so strongly. He cares about her opinion, and so when he tells everybody he has no respect for us, that's garbage.
Yeah, the guy you see on stage is an actor. Because I remember when I was interviewing him during the run up to the election, I would interview him, and then I'd see this person on television. I said, "Who is that person? Who is that?"
Not the one who was trying
It's
to charm
it's
you
like
moments
split
ago,
personality.
right?
Yeah, right. Thank you all. Congratulations, Olivia.